Well, I think first off, it's showing up in life. I think a lot of people, again, I said, just because you befriend somebody on the internet or what have you doesn't mean that you're really invested in them. And I think you really have to take that mentality that when you meet people and you go to an event like this, and today you guys have all met 500 people. And the question that I have for you is, do you remember their names? Do you remember what you talked about? Do you remember what was important to them? And I think a lot of people go through the cycle of just shaking hands, and not really paying attention to who Steve is and what's his story and how Steve shaped Todd's life, or what Ricky Debler does and how he's, the man who created all the great restaurants in Disney for the Mexican pavilion. But I think it's the time that you just sit there and really understand who people are. And look, maybe it doesn't come naturally for people, so make notes. Go on your phone, and when you meet somebody, put the date in, take a photo with them, take a selfie, and get to know who they are and remember it, and then follow up.
I finished a book recently called Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Yeah.
I know you've read it. If you haven't read it, you need to read it. It's tremendous. And the whole book is about doing something better every single day, 1% better every single day. What sort of habits have you put in place that have helped you maintain and build all these relationships that you have? Because I know right now I'm doing it for Todd. I've got 5,000 people, right? Plus 27, And so, I've followed your lead, and I'm always trying to stay in contact with these folks, trying to, bolster those relationships. Do you have any tips for anybody besides the ones that you mentioned?
I just think it's got to be genuine and authentic, and no matter what, when you meet people, I mean, I think you are a very authentic guy, and when you meet people, you're genuinely interested, and you follow up. And I think if you demonstrate that in life, then those relationships are going to blossom, and people are going to really like you and want to stay in touch with you, because it is a two-way street, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing. I mean, you're going to meet people who, maybe you have a conversation with them, and you send them 3 or 4 texts or calls or whatever, and they don't respond back to you. Maybe you give up on that one, right?
I'm going to touch on that in a second, but one of the things that I've focused on that you taught me, and I've always kind of done naturally, but I love to strike up conversations with people wherever I'm at. I love to meet new people, and you never know who you're going to meet. Tell us about Hans and our friends in the Netherlands and how you met them and what that relationship has looked like.
So what he's referencing is I own a restaurant in Tallahassee, Florida called the Edison, and Heineken, by way of Ricky Debler, got me an invitation to Ibiza 7 or 8 years ago, and I was at this Heineken party, and I'm walking through, and I meet this Dutch woman who confused me for someone else, and long story short, I end up seeing her and her husband later that night. They became fast friends, and they said, you should come to the Netherlands at some point and have dinner with us. So 2 weeks later, I went to the Netherlands, and I had dinner with them, and Austin Mancuso was actually at that dinner. And I thought it would just be like a Thursday night. The guy comes, picks us up in his Bentley, takes us to the little town of Haarlem, which is actually where Rinus VK is from. Yeah. And what started off on Thursday went Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We never left this group, this couple. And they're big tech people. They've made a lot of money in the tech industry.
They're very successful.
And then he said, man, we love this so much. We're going to come see you next month in America. I said, great. So they met me in New York. And then in New York, a month later, he said, let's do this again. I'm going to come see you in Tallahassee, Florida. Mm-hmm. So the next month, he flew to Tallahassee. And he says, you fly to Paris and meet me, okay? 18 months in a row, I met this couple around the world. And they are some of my dearest friends. Most of these guys know them. And I go to their Christmas party every year. They come here. We do business together. But I was intentional in that relationship. They were intentional. And that's what you want. You want two sides. You want to see people who are intentional in relationships. Todd is intentional in relationships,
You'd be surprised who's out there that you don't even know until you talk to them. You got to get out of your shell a little bit. So
be uncomfortable.
Yeah. And to give you a little bit of a reference, I went to France with Todd and Adam, and on a whim's notice, Hans came down with his whole family. He said, we come to see Adam Corey when he's in town. And it was like, we're 3 countries away.
Yeah.
Handwritten notes, right? That's number
Yes.
8. I don't think you guys understand how overlooked that is. Those mean a lot to people. Does anybody write handwritten letters to folks? Thank you letters?
Nice.
Okay, awesome. Well, Adam and I got a very special gift for you guys. We got you guys risk-on thank you cards so that you guys can go ahead and send a thank you letter to somebody because it means a lot to those folks and it's going to help you build relationships.
I put it on my calendar. Every Sunday, I write 3 handwritten thank you letters. It could be to a family member, it could be to a friend, it could be to somebody you met that week, but it's something that really says a lot. You know, when you think about it, last time you got a letter in the mail, you hold it. You don't usually, I mean, maybe you throw it away. I don't know. I tend to hold on to these things. They pile up on my desk, and I keep seeing it, and I think, what a nice person. So